Hello, everyone. Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, we're going to be doing a review for Daredevil Born Again, Episode 4, Sick Semper System. Uh, this was kind of a mixed bag episode. I think that although I was very thoroughly entertained while I was watching the episode, there's still a little bit of a tonal dissonance. I think there's still a little bit of trying to figure out the tone and all the stuff that we can see that the show's been kind of stitched together from different stories. They added a few things that some of them are very good things, but still the episode at the end of the day, it wasn't as strong. It was a little bit more disjointed than the last one. You can see that they wanted to keep some of the procedural stuff, but also they knew that they wanted to amp up all the other Daredevil stuff. So it's kind of a mixed bag, but it's still pretty good. I still really enjoyed it. Like I said, I had a great time. There's some like just stuff that is out of left field. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. So let's get into it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the things that worked, things that didn't. Um, all right. So we begin with Matt checking up on White Tiger. We know that, and we're getting into spoilers. So if you haven't seen the episodes up until now, you're gonna get spoiled. Matt goes to check on the White Tiger, gets his belongings, and then also just try to get a little bit more information about what happened. Angela, who is the White Tiger's niece, who in the comics eventually becomes a new iteration of the White Tiger, shows up, and she's very distraught. This young person is very good. First of all, at just kind of really delivering a very heartfelt, just like an angry, like she's angry, she's upset about what happened to her uncle, right? Because it is unfair. He had been found innocent, and now this happens. So yeah, I think she was great. She was a really good part of the episode, even though it was a very short, small scene. This young person and Charlie Cox really deliver. We also have our first sighting of Muse carrying a body. Now I don't know if Muse was an original part of the plan. I think he probably was because I know they were not. Muse feels like a good villain to kind of slow play throughout the season until Daredevil actually has to kind of step into it. We also catch up with Daniel and BB partying in this like club. And Daniel's kind of filling BB in on like what the plans are, right? Like what the next project is. Now later on, we find out that BB was kind of using Daniel for information. But one thing I really liked is that there's art all over the walls, and Muse's signature is all over the place as well. There's some really cool White Tiger art. So I think we know that Muse is like his presence has been felt, has known, right? Muse is probably the one that drew the Punisher symbol with the word triggered on it, and the dual Wilson Fisk of like two different, kind of looking Wilson Fisk. So yeah, Muse is definitely a presence in this neighborhood, and we get to see it all over the background, which is kind of cool. We get to see another counseling session for the Fisks, and they go into some really deep stuff. Like we get a little bit more of information of why they're upset with each other, what happened while Fisk was away. The name of Adam is brought up again, and we kind of get learn a little bit more, and we will learn a lot more about this character later on. In the meanwhile, we saw somebody getting arrested outside of the club with Daniel and BB, and this story is a follow through. We get to see that this individual is going to be Matt's new case. They do sometimes they do freebies for, I guess, just to help people out as public defenders. Um, it is really interesting because the whole thing revolves around this guy stole some fiddle faddle from like some sweets from the grocery store. So it's like a very small crime. And I really thought it was kind of interesting how small of a thing, like how little, like this case compared to the stuff that he just did with the White Tiger has very little, um like gravity towards everything, right? There's not a lot riding on this case except for this one person that's part of it. uh yeah, this is kind of where some of that dissonance in tone comes into play because the guy that Matt is assigned to, he makes a few comments about Matt being blind, and like he how come he's got to get the blind lawyer and stuff like that. So outside of the court, Matt does run into Powell, who's the cop that we saw multiple times. One of the cops that was in the with Victor Ayala in the subway, and he kind of goads him into telling him like, I didn't kill Victor, just so that he could use his powers, I guess, to like see if he really did it or not, like a lie detector. So it looks to me like he did, like he's telling the truth. So it was maybe somebody else. Definitely, we know it wasn't the Punisher, but we know it's definitely one of those cops that has that Punisher logo, like that they kind of idolize the Punisher. So uh, next we get to probably the weirdest scenes in the episode. And this is already like after we've dealt with the fiddle faddle of it all. Fisk, he's trying to do this project. Things aren't going according to plan because of Daniel's leak to the press, which we'll deal with in a minute. But he's just got to do stuff like he's got to do mayoral stuff, right? So he's got to go visit a school and go check out this community center and stuff like that. And it's like, for some reason, the kids choir is singing like a song, just like "We Built This City," that song, and it's from the point of view of Fisk, is kind of like something he doesn't want to do. It's a little cringe, like he just feels out of place there. And this is a fun way to understand that Fisk doesn't know what he's in for as mayor, right? He can't just do whatever he wants. Like when he was the kingpin, there's commitments, there's rules, there's boundaries, and of course he's gonna keep pushing on those. But then right after that, the next scene, we learned that it's like Latvian Heritage Day or something like that, and the Latvian choir is also singing the same song, but in Latvian. And I was like, what is happening? And I thought it was a fun way to show how this like the mayor has to do all the stuff that they don't want to do, and especially because it's the same song. Like, how many times in a day does he have to go through the same niceties of like pretending to care about all this stuff that he's doing, right? All his appearances and all that. So of course Vincent D'Onofrio plays it very well. Just the fact that they chose to use the same song a couple times is really interesting. Fisk does find out about the leak, and Daniel comes forward saying that it was him who leaked it to BB. Um, and instead of firing him, he tells him, he kind of gives him an ultimatum. But it's interesting to see like what is Daniel to Fisk, like what is their relationship? How does Fisk see this guy? Like, does he remind him of himself? Does he remind him of like maybe a successor or somebody that he would want to take under his wing? So I'm sure we're going to explore that. Matt finds the bullet. He goes and looks for the bullet. He finds the bullet. He realizes that it's got a Punisher logo on it. So of course, we know that it is from one of these police officers that are going around with the Frank Castle tattoos or the Punisher tattoos. So Matt tracks down Frank Castle. So it looks like this whole time, and this is probably the best scene and the best sequence of the episode, Matt has known where the Punisher is and what he's been up to. And they have this really in-depth conversation where they kind of call each other out on their bullshit. Matt knows how to, Frank knows how to get Matt going. He knows. I wrote on my notes. Frank knows how to bring the devil out of Matt, and just any project where John Barenthal shows up, it just immediately becomes better. Like that's just it's just a matter of fact. So yeah, very intense scene between both of them. I'm sure we'll see the Punisher one more time at least before the end of the season. And then, of course, he's got his own spin-off special project that will be coming to Disney Plus later on. So I'm very excited for that. Um, Matt finally goes home. He sees his girlfriend finally, and then he does what you know, he does what Matt does, and that is just to get down and freaky after this very stressful day. And then we end with a really cool parallel scene of how both Matt and Fisk blow off steam at the end of the day in their own special ways. Matt goes up to the roof and does a little bit of like training with his batons, and kind of reminds himself of like the Daredevil days. In the meanwhile, Fisk goes to like this compound, this dungeon, where he is served like this full gigantic plate of pasta, like this, like just a really big plate of like pasta and sausage and very unhealthy food, which is in contrast to what we see him eat for breakfast every morning, which is just like, like a little egg with some like a scallion or something. Um, but then it is revealed that this Adam person that Vanessa had an affair with of some sort, that he's been keeping him there in that dungeon, and that is messed up. So yeah, Fisk hasn't changed. Matt also probably hasn't changed much. So like they're both still under the surface and they're bubbling up and they're gonna come. And I can't wait to see how they both come back into the fold. Next we close out with Muse. Like at the beginning of the episode, we saw him carrying some guy down the tracks. He finally gets to his lair, and we see that he's been bleeding people out, including this new guy. So yeah, Muse will definitely be. I think next episode is going to be the Muse episode, at least the first one where Matt becomes aware of the threat and maybe has to kind of spring into action. So we'll see. But yeah, really interesting. Like I said, tonally all over the place, story wise kind of all over the place, and just very weirdly stitched together. But overall, solid, entertaining. Almost hour television. So not as strong as the last episode, but definitely had a good time watching this one as well. So if you enjoy Daredevil, let me know what you think about the episode so far. As always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye-bye.